So there's a reoccurring thing that I am asked by the women I work with about getting in trouble. What is meant by that is they'll say, I get in trouble if I say no to this, I get in trouble if I try to do boundaries, if I try to hold my place on something. I must admit that my first response was a little confusion. Like, isn't the phrase I get in trouble something that goes on between a parent and a child? And I had to really put myself in their shoes, so I'm guessing that you, because I'm hearing it's more common than I thought, if you try some of these new principles or new tools that we give you, that you get in trouble for using them. The first time a woman tries anything that's even close to the concept of boundaries, she gets in trouble. So now, what does that actually mean? There's multiple versions of it, but it usually comes with, and the scientific name for it is called a punishment. In a textbook, a punishment is when the response to the behavior is designed to eliminate the behavior. You are now going to get a swat on the hand for getting a cookie out of the cookie jar. If you say to me, I'm feeling uncomfortable tonight, I'd like to sleep in the bed alone. I'd like to sleep in my bed alone today. And he punishes you in a sneaky way, otherwise known as passive aggressive, where he goes,
Fine, of course you do. You go to your ridiculous classes and learn how to have ridiculous rules.
Okay, that one actually is a little more aggressive than passive aggressive, but at least it was pleasantly aggressive. All right, you get the point how it can be all sorts of sweevy, swervy, how you're like, I'm not even sure how to label the punishment I just got. You got the loud one, you got the...
That's totally fine, I'm cool with it. I'll just go sleep in the back of the truck and freeze to death. Everything will be fine.
We do have a couch.
No, I know. You want me to sleep in the truck.
101 ways, 1,001 ways that you can be punished for any attempt at a boundary or a self-care activity. If you are in season 4 and you have just spent some time with God and He says, I need you to go on a 3-day journey and grab a couple of girlfriends and clear your head and dump some stuff out of your chest, and you say, hey husband, I am feeling inspired to go do the following. He goes, of course, you get to run away from all your problems. So the phrase getting into trouble is an intuitive or instinctual way that I'm hearing women say they're getting punished. Because you women often, many of you either have children or have been around children, everyone knows the dangers of buying a pack of candy for a child who throws a tantrum at the checkout stand. Do we need to review the psychology of that? What happens if the kid's throwing a fit at the checkout stand and says, I want that candy, I want that candy, I want that candy, and then you buy it for them after you tell them no 6 times? We have now reinforced it. We have now reinforced it so the brain of the child is now going to think next time, if it took me 6 times of throwing a fit before I got it this time, maybe 8 to 12 times I throw a fit and then I'll get it. When you cave, when you withdraw, when you are successfully punished into pulling back your self-care activity or your boundary, whatever it is you're trying to do to create a growth space, warming space, a nurturing space inside of yourself, if you cave to the punishment, it will probably be worse next time. Technically speaking, I call that a tantrum, where they behave contrary to their value system in such a way to get what they want, even though it might be camouflaged into thinking they're just helping you get what you want. Whatever games are played around all that is often referred to as gaslighting. So here's how you get through one of these, all right? There are probably a dozen or 2 dozen parts of your life that in order for you to become fully healthy, you're going to have to become stronger with this boundary, this one over here, this one there. Okay, all of those are too wobbly right now. You're going to need to spend more time reading. You're going to need to spend more time writing. You're going to need to spend some more quiet time. Whatever elements of your self-care that are currently missing. So start by making a list of boundaries and or self-care things that need attention. Take a deep breath when you see how long it is and just go, that's fine, that's fine. And we're going to do the line upon line, precept upon precept, 1% improvement at a time. With your best guess or with the help of a trusted consultant, therapist or something like that, pick one. Only pick one to start with, okay? So you're not being random. Try to pick one and then draw out the plan. Draw out the plan of, here's the one I'm going to lock into place first. Let's say that you need to have your own sleeping space at least every other night. That's what you're feeling like right now. I just need to have every other night, a little more clarity, a little more not having to think about someone else in the same bedroom, in the same space. It's not a punishment, it's just that's what I need to get a little more clear-headedness. You write it down, you get it clear in your space, then you write down your communication about it. And now remember, the goal isn't to make sure he agrees with it. That's highly unlikely. The goal is to have what you've written down be something that you are proud of. That if you heard your best girlfriend say the same thing, you would say, dang, that was sharp, that was dignified, that was classy, that was solid. If it's the same thing you would teach your daughters to do, okay, sweetie, if you're in a circumstance like this is the best way to phrase it, this is the strongest way to phrase it, but he's gonna be so mad, Mom, I know, but this is still the best way to phrase it. So remember, when you're communicating boundaries or needs, whether it's I need this for myself, or if we're going to have a healthy relationship, this is going to need to be an element of it. The goal isn't to say it in such a way that the other person goes, I love that, it's my favorite thing ever. When you're teaching true principles like that, it's kind of like being a prophet, where you have to say it whether people are going to like it or not. You try to be dignified and you try to be healthy in your delivery, but then how they handle it, that's on them. When we boil it down to the end of the product here, the end of the process, you can do everything right, and there's still a chance he's going to at least attempt to punish you. But does that mean you've done it wrong? Okay, let's ask Abinadi. If Abinadi gets the revelations he's supposed to have, and he takes them into King Noah's court, and he teaches these principles, does he think, wow, these guys are burning me at the stake right now, I must have delivered this wrong? The response of the audience isn't the determining element of whether or not you did it wrong. Did Christ do the Christ thing wrong because they crucified him for it? You cannot measure whether or not you're doing it right based on someone else's response to it. Healthy people respond to healthy boundaries, requests, and healthy self-care attempts in a healthy way. You can use this as an excellent weather checking tool. If a woman who's working on her healing says to a man, I am thinking for the next week or two I need to sleep in a bed by myself every other day, a healthy man will say, I don't fully understand that, but I validate it. How can I help? How can I support you in that? Okay, I don't have a problem if the guy is confused. I don't have a problem if the guy is all, how does that work and what's that supposed to do? But I do expect him to ask those questions with a reverent tone, with a tone of support instead of a tone of challenging. If you're having the experience of getting in trouble or being punished, the steps are retreat and regroup and make a clear list of what needs to be different, specifically for your well-being. Number 2, pick which one of those should be the first priority. Get some revelation or sometimes just guess. Create a plan to execute it in such a way that you can be pleased with yourself and dignified with yourself. Gather up the courage and fortitude. Be like Abinadi if you have to, and step in and go, here's the truth, here's the concept, here's how things are right now, and then we watch and see how they respond. If they respond in an unfortunate way, which includes punishing you, or in other words, you're getting in trouble, you know that the other person's not ready to be in a healthy relationship right now. If they make any attempt to be supportive, they're probably in a more healthy space. I hope that helps.